All right, it's another Founders vlog. It's about 1:30 in the morning, Times Square. This is 42nd Street here. You can see the stuff going on in the background, and I was in the room working hard like everybody's doing, right? We're all working hard. We're all chasing the dream, trying to figure it out. I've been out here in Manhattan. I'm from Jersey, so I'm out here really locking in, just to lock in and feel the vibe and feel the city and feel the promise of what's on the horizon. Now, I said, let me go for a walk. Let me find, I don't know, not really inspiration, but I guess maybe inspiration. Maybe something else to inspire me. Maybe I'll see something that I feel is unique. We're all looking for another angle. We're all looking for another reason to push, because we're all chasing a dream that's not guaranteed to us. We're chasing a dream, and we don't really have the power in our hands, but we have the power in our minds. So I come out here and then I see this big sign. I don't know if you can see it. You probably can't read it. Well, it's a big sign, and it says, hire black people, pay black people, honor black people. All right? It's just a huge Twitter post from a girl named Brit, at Brit Lachey. And I wish you could come in on here, but maybe it's good that it doesn't. Maybe it's good that the reflection of that is just a blank white screen. Maybe it's some poetry in that, right? All you see that down here is like, support black people. It's like, on one hand it feels good, but on the other hand, will there really be a follow-up to all this talk? Because we see how, you can be the flavor of the month, and next month nobody wants to hear about it. If you study Reconstruction, you look at Reconstruction, for 10 years or more, the North, the Union Army, stayed in the South. And at that time, they were there to protect the black people, to keep them safe, to allow their towns to develop, to allow them to be safe. Now, you had some towns that were prosperous. At that time, you had black people, becoming senators and state legislators and elected officials, and a lot of great things were happening. But there was a growing sentiment from the South, from the Southern politicians, like, hey, enough is enough already. You guys need to get out of the South. And then Northern whites, who were like, listen, the work is not over with. The work has just begun. You still had guys like Frederick Douglass on the scene saying, listen, the work is just starting. We have to do this now. We have to do this now. And the sentiment coming from the North was like, we're kind of tired of this black, talk. We fought a war. They've been free now 10, 15 years now, or whatever it was. It was like, we're kind of like, we really don't want to hear it anymore. We're tired of it. And we had a president who ended up getting assassinated. Now, his whole thing, his whole philosophy was doubling down on protections for black people in the South. And he was not swayed by the sentiment, but he ended up getting killed. So his vice president, I'm quite sure I got the history right, but his vice president was in the pocket of the South. And the troops were pulled, the towns were burned, the people were killed, the protection was taken away. The black senators and congressmen and these type of people, they were chased out of Washington, chased out of the state houses. Elected officials were hung, lynched, thrown out, the carpetbaggers, and the progress stopped, and we were ushered right back into slavery, right back into sharecropping, which is, slavery by a different name. They said, we're going to go into business with you. All you black folks, we're going to go into business with you. We're going to enterprise with you. And look, we're going to set up, going to give you all plots of land. Here's 40 acres for your family. Here's 20 acres for your family. All you guys, here's, and here's a shack. Now let me tell you about business. You need tools. So this plow is going to cost you this, and this hoe is going to cost you that, and this shovel is going to cost you this, and you got to pay rent because you're living here, so your rent's going to be this much, and your rent's going to be everything we're going to settle up at the end of the year. Also, check this out, we're going to put a general store here. Yeah, we're going to build a store, so all you guys should come now. Keep in mind, you got to come in the back door, but you can come, and we're going to have some pies and jams and little trinkets and all this stuff, and we'll let you get it on credit. And at the end of the year, you never could settle up. You never make your books. And every step of the way, you were taken advantage of. Even when you bought crops to the market, or depending on what you were planting, if bales of hay are going for $3.50, when you go down there to the docks and weigh in your hay, it's, hay is $2.75, and who are you gonna fight? A lot of folks were illiterate. So I say that to say this, is that as black founders, and as we see America saying, hey, hire these people, pay these people, give these people a shot, right? You're probably going to see some movement, but keep in mind, with that movement, there are going to be just as many sharks in the water looking to take from you. So be well advised. You're going to see people offering services at inflated prices when you walk in the door. You're going to see rents higher, when you walk in the door. They're going to say, wow, these black companies are flush with cash, and how can we exploit that? So, when I see that sign, that's kind of, that's what I think about as a black founder. All right. So we have a lot of work to do, because our commitment is to what we want to create, what we want to own, but we always have a commitment to our people. And the interesting thing enough is that, as black people, we feel all people are our people, right? I once spoke with an African guy, and he gave me a unique perspective. We were talking, I was selling him a car, and I said, it's a shame how, Africa is how they sack Africa for its raw materials, and how all these Western countries, and now you see China, how they come into Africa and they take, and they really give the people, nothing. I don't know, as much as we complain about the Chinese, they have built some stuff, but these countries, they really entered into agreements that they probably can never pay back, and they're going to lose even more resources. And but that's something else, and that's something that they have to figure out, and hopefully they will get equity. But I said, these people, they need to get out of Africa, man. Don't you think they have to get out of Africa and stop taking and taking and taking? And you know what he told me? He said, listen, man, we're Africa. We're Mother Africa. What mother would not let their child suckle from her breast? He said, we have abundance. He said, they just need to learn to respect and love their mother. That's one hell of a perspective. That's one hell of a perspective. From an African man who grew up in poverty, who grew up under the legacy of colonialism. He still said, we're the mother. It's the motherland. And all nations are welcome to come. Right? So it's an interesting perspective. So I think that perspective is what we as Black founders need to move forward. It's not about retribution. It's really about putting things as they should be. There should be strong companies that are headed and ran by Black folks. There should be stronger representation of people of color in every area of business and society. And we do deserve to change the world. Our people have been taken advantage of for so long. I sold cars most of my life, and I seen what happened. And I wasn't the best car salesman in gross profits because I never, how could you look at somebody's pay stubs, see what they make, see what their insurance quote is, and then fix to give them a payment that is going to keep them in poverty. And it's a cycle. In good ethics, I've told people, run, leave, don't buy the car. You don't want it, please don't do it. Right? And then I've seen, you're in the showroom and there's 20 salesmen, and you see, people at the desk. You see Black couples at the desk and Black families. And listen, I'm going to find out what that deal was about. We all talk, oh, what did you make on that deal? What was this? I cracked him. I crushed him. $7,000 in the front. We picked up 4 in the back. Killed him, right? And I'm thinking like, yeah, you killed him. Yeah, you killed him. The banking industry, they make out. They get great points on the loan. The salesmen get a good commission. The managers, it goes towards their total gross. The owner, he makes his money. And now you got, some Black folks, good Black people, struggling to do right. This is a woman who's probably making $10,000 less than her white counterpart doing the same job, who's probably under a lot more scrutiny with her job as well. And a Black man who's probably the same thing, right? the same type of scenario going. They're hardworking. They're what you want to call, model black people, right? Yet and still, they lose at work. They lose when they want to come purchase a vehicle to help their family. And everybody's complacent and stealing the opportunity from those beautiful children that are with them. Because that additional money, might allow that kid to play a sport or be more active. Now traveling sports and things like this are big, right? I do work for a woman. Her son plays hockey. He's traveling up and down the East Coast all the time. These people have that money. They have that disposable income. So Billy, and I think Billy's gonna be great, but Billy got to stop growing. Billy's already 6'2" now. At 15, little Billy. Little Billy's big. I used to bring my son over there when I would do their lawn, and him and Billy, they would lower the rim and they would have these dunk contests, and little Billy was always cheating. Those two, both of them were cheating. Billy was worse. But I say that to say this. That disposable income, could go a long way. That could be the difference of colleges. That could be the difference of medical care. That could be just the difference of, great family vacations that last a lifetime. That could be the difference of what are the opportunities that they could, offer and give to their other family members, right? That's what's important in life. And people who are in power take advantage of that. And then we turn around and we say, what's wrong with these people? Now, here's how it affects them. They're paying too much for that vehicle. It takes a toll on the opportunities that their family could have. It takes a toll on their finances. Their credit score is lower. The lower the credit score, the higher the insurance you're going to pay. So, auto insurance, they look at your credit. Good credit, lower rates. Bad credit, higher rates, right? Credit is getting shot, higher interest rates. It's a cycle. So now you're paying more for the car, you're paying more for the insurance. Your cost of ownership is more. You have less for your family, less opportunities, less in savings, less in retirement. This is what we do. This is what we do to the descendants of the slaves that built all of this, that built all that wealth, right? You really got to know the history of this country and the history of yourself, the history of financing and banking and insurance, to understand what was robbed, to understand your responsibility as a founder, as a black founder, as somebody with a dream and an idea. You need to know these things. Now the number one commodity traded in the world, I believe, is still oil. We see nations get rich over oil. We see nations go to war over oil. It's big, big business, big, big money. Well, there was a time when the number one commodity was cotton. And this country had 90% of the market for over 100 years. We've seen what 50, 60 years, 70 years of oil has done for nations. What does 100 years of the most widely traded commodity on the backs of black bodies? Where's that wealth? This is what black founders are after. And I hope VCs understand that. I hope banks understand that. I hope the markets understand that. This is what we're after, right? We hear talk of reparations. I don't know if it's going to happen. But even if it doesn't, we're gonna get reparations for our people. That's what black founders think about when they create. That's where that passion comes from. I haven't spoke to a black person, a black founder, or a black person who wants to run a business. I really haven't spoken to many who doesn't have some type of social commitment back to the community. Who doesn't have like a burning desire that they want to show, that little boy, that little girl, and that grandparent, and their peers, and their parents, people of, all generations. They want to show them something to be proud of. They want to show them a different way. We have crime in our communities. A lot of stuff, man. A lot of things that money's not going to fix. You can't throw money at all type of problems like that. But when you understand the history of opportunity and equity and fairness, that's how you clean up a society. So we're doing history today. So I spoke about cotton. So in the 1800s, 1810s, 20s, 30s, cotton was the big thing. We established that was the number one traded commodity. Everybody wanted in on that game, right? So how you see people rush to Silicon Valley with a new internet idea or something that has to do with computers or computing, or the net. All right, that was the same thing with cotton. And it was pretty simple. You can get an easy loan, buy land, buy slaves, plant the seeds, build yourself a mansion, sit on the porch, sip iced tea, and all the crazy deviant behavior that comes with that lifestyle, right? That's all you had to do. So, in Alabama and Mississippi, and as these territories were being opened up, it was chaotic. It was like how they depict the old Wild West, right? Some towns, small towns. We talk about Chicago, they were laying down 20, 250, deaths all, a week, all the time. People were getting shot and killed, right? Then law comes in, and then a sense of fairness and equity. This is what the law does. These people, they weren't. We had a lot of people in this country who were fleeing from Europe, right? These are people who had to run. They weren't the best and the brightest. So, but once you bring in some type of equity, give them some type of opportunities, they started cutting that stuff out. And then, you see a certain code of conduct. This is why I got a philosophy that people are polite not because they're nice. People are polite because I would say that the politest societies were probably the most dangerous ones. That's why you got to establish, excuse me, pardon me, after you, after me, good day, good morning, good night, right? Because it was, you could go to a third world country, what they call, and, you say, the people are so rude, like they just bump into you and they, nobody's, they're not being rude. Bumping into somebody's not going to cost you your life over there. So it's understood, okay, I bumped into you. It's already understood that this sometimes happens. No harm, no foul. No reason for us to sit and chit-chat about it. Just keep going about your business. But where you'll get your head blown off, pardon me, right? You have to establish that. So that's just that's an observation of mine. And I think I'm right. So now I'm rambling. So yeah, I came out here for that to I guess to see something, to inspire a message, and that's the message. So good luck. Keep creating, keep building, keep dreaming, and it's going to happen. All right? Good day.